Hmm. Let's see. Share responses live. Okay. Hey, everybody. All right, so this is my first Q&A live, and I'm sort of figuring it out a little bit, so y'all bear with me. Questions, post. I guess. I say lobby. All right, I'm going to do it kind of the old school way and sort of scroll through the comments. So y'all bear with me. So we're going to give everybody a few minutes to click in. I hope you brought some really good questions. And if you haven't had a chance, I posted just a little bit of free game before we went live today. A CPA here. He's already looked at it. What's up? And thank you for that, by the way. So today has been crazy. But crazy for a good cause, I think. A lot of people ask me how I feel about, all the cancellations and postponements because of Corona. And honestly, I think because we really don't know what we're dealing with, it's better to be a little bit cautious. So I'm sort of okay with it. Sort of okay with taking a little pause until we figure things out. So I see some people. What's up, boo? Mark Fisher. Hey, Mark. How are you? Waiting back. Wow. Thank y'all for popping in. This is great. Like I said, we're just going to give, since I said 8 o'clock, we'll just give just like a couple minutes for people to sort of, come in. Click in here. Young Billy D, what inspired you to drop a hot pick on us today? Well, honestly, it's kind of a rough 7 days for me. This is kind of a hard week. So my dad's birthday, the anniversary of my dad's death was Monday. The anniversary of my grandfather's death is tomorrow, and my mom's birthday is Tuesday. So the simple answer is I was feeling some kind of way, and I was looking for some pictures to post to honor my grandfather, and I came across that picture, and I saw my back muscles looking like I've been really doing something in the gym, and I have been working out hard. So I just snagged it, posted it. So that's the honest answer. What's up, Chris? Checking in from the treadmill. Oh, thank you. Wright Brothers Coffee Shop. I appreciate that. Thanks for the prayers. Also for Spec. Thank you. All right, so everybody, we're going to give just a couple minutes. It's 7:58, and I just want to honor my start time. So let me see if there's any early questions here. Just simple. Hot picture. Okay, let's see. This is awesome. I'm really grateful that people checked in today. So, I figured, the truth is, I just don't have time. People always want to, can I meet one-on-one? Can we have coffee? It's really hard for me to do that because I have a real job. So, that takes up a lot of my time. So I was thinking, well, how can I help people in sort of the easiest mass kind of way? And so that's why I'm here doing this today. I figured I could answer some questions for people. OpEx. We're taking a look at OpEx spec. Yeah, we're looking at that. So we're trying to figure it out. We'll make an announcement soon, either which way. Thank you, Wright Brothers Coffee Shop. I'll tell you, that's my mother. Good genes from my mom. So that's pretty awesome. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's see. All right. 1 minute. 1 minute. And we'll go ahead and ask for some questions. So I see we got 13, 15 people in here. So, hey, what's up, Atlantic Promotion? Atlantic Promotion always gives me the most love. Thank you. Mark Fisher. Hey, y'all. If you ever need someone to do good voiceovers, produce commercials for you, Mark Fisher's tagged in here. It's Mark Fisher. He's awesome. Hey, Ed from Cleveland. Am I in the DMV? No. Wright Brothers, I'm not. I am in Houston, Texas. Thanks, Atlantic Promotion. All right, let me see the time. All right, 8 o'clock. So look, I am here to help you. If you're an artist, you have a question, ask it. If you are a small business person, you have a question, ask it. What's up, Rio? If you are in radio or you are an influencer and you have a question, ask it. I'm here to answer your questions and, I don't know, download some of this epic resume and try to help people. So that's what tonight is all about. Is really helping you, whatever it is that you have in terms of business, branding, whatever. So, okay. 54-year-old box fan. Thank you. So for those that may or may not know, I am Terry Thomas, and I am the operations manager and program director for Radio 1 Houston. So there's 3 radio stations here. It's really 3 in and online. So 97.9 The Box, Magic 102.1. We also have a top 40 station that's programmed by Dustin Cross, but I'm the operations manager. And then we also have an online gospel station. I've been in radio since I was 14 years old. And radio is, it's about branding, marketing, music, and all of that. And I just happen to have a talent for it. So I want to share some of my expertise. So, okay, Wright Brothers Coffee Shop. I had questions on business. I'm starting mine. All right, ask your question. If you got a question, just drop it in the comments. I haven't figured out how to use the Q&A box, so just drop it in the comments, and I will answer. So who's got a question for me? Question, anybody? All right, well, I'm waiting for someone to formulate a question. I'm going to sort of recap the free game that I posted a little bit ago. So look, if you're an artist or let's say an artist. Today, a lot of people have been canceled by Corona, literally. Concerts, all the sporting events, entertainment venues, some clubs, stuff like that. So what do you do if you've been canceled by Corona? Well, a lot of us are going to be working from home for the next few weeks. So when you work from home, you have a tendency to get on the phone, and people are going to get bored. So what can you do if you're an artist during this time and you've been canceled by Corona? First things first, you have tracks, you have instruments. So if you're an artist, why not host a free concert on your social media for your fans? Okay? You can promote it, set the appointment, do it live, and you don't need a whole band, just you and your track or you and your instrument, and just do a short free concert for your fans, kind of like your own version of Tiny Desk. And so do the concert, make sure you save it and download it, and then you can repost it later so you get double for your trouble. So where do you do the concert? You could do it on Instagram Live, you could do it on Facebook Live, you could do it on YouTube, you could do it anywhere. All 3 if you really want to, and then download the content and repost it to the platform. So that's number 1. Number 2, if you're an artist, how can you make the most out of being canceled by Corona? Let's say that you were planning on collaborating with somebody, but for whatever the reason, because we've been canceled by Corona, you're not able to get to that person. So people love behind the scenes stuff. My suggestion to you would be to do like an IG Live or a Facebook Live. Use a platform that you can click somebody in and then create and collaborate on a project together via social media and allow the fans to participate and witness the process. People love that stuff. They want a sneak peek of the process, and you can give that to them. And then once you're done creating or collaborating on whatever, make sure you save it, download it, and then you can repost it again later for content. And then my third thing for artists, and again, I've posted this just probably about 20 minutes ago on the regular Instagram feed, free game today. The third thing I would say is do this. Do this with your fans, a Q&A. Nothing beats the fans. I find in my experience, fans ask the absolute best questions. They are voracious for the content about you. So they'll ask really great questions. You can save it and then repost it. And again, you have content. So I see we've got some questions, so bear with me. I'm scrolling back here. And okay. Can you speak on marketing ideas in a saturated market? Sure. This is Tam Prince too. Hey Tam, what's your business? So I'm interested to know what business you have. So if you can sort of comment here, I'd love to see that. But marketing ideas in a saturated market. Yeah, marketing is everywhere, right? You can't even escape it. you can say something, open your Instagram, and then boop, there's an ad there that speaks to the thing that you just talked about, right? So marketing is coming at you in all different sorts of ways. So I think the best type of marketing is something that's really authentic. I love the things that are a bit more organic. And things like, sneak peeks behind the scenes, anything that will give people an opportunity to connect with you directly. And then I do love the idea for the people that are already following you, getting them to create your marketing if you've got any sort of connection with your fan base. And this goes for you if you have a business, a product, anything like that. The people that already follow you, the ones that were inspired enough to hit that follow or fan or friend button, they dig what you're doing. So I'll give you an example. There's a woman on Instagram who makes these amazing tulle skirts and robes and all this. I absolutely love her. I don't know how to say her name, but it's Shop Oyemen. And I love her. And one of the things that she started doing was creating some incentives for her fans and doing some giveaways of product. Maybe you've got a new product coming out and you want somebody to name the product. So you could run a contest for your fans to name a product and they win an incentive for that. Or you can even encourage them to come up with a marketing idea for you. Hey, if you love what I'm doing here, create a commercial on your Instagram and I'll give you something. So I think the things that really connect with fans on an individual basis are really helpful because we all have this sense of not wanting to do a thing unless somebody else recommends it, right? Do you go to a restaurant without somebody saying, oh, it's good, looking at Yelp or whatever the reviews are? You don't. So I would say to really cut through in a saturated market, lean on your fans and followers first. That's kind of the free marketing. And that's the marketing that money really can't buy because these people are already rocking with you. So I would start there. I hope that answers your question somewhat. Okay, let's see. Would you still say you only have doctors on if they're from a hospital? Okay, would you still say you only have doctors on if they are from a hospital buying airtime? Okay, Doc, that's an awesome question. In terms of the radio station, it's all about our advertisers first, right? You got to take care of those that take care of you. So yeah, for people to come on the air, that's the first place we go. If we've got a doctor in the house that's advertising with the radio station, those will be the first individuals that get the chance to be on the air. It's just good business. Okay, Wright Brothers Coffee Shop. I have no clue what I'm doing when it comes to trademarking. The forms are confusing. Yes, they are. In fact, I'm going to do another free game session where we're going to really speak about that specifically, and I'm going to get my attorney to participate in that, and we'll do it together because I think it is really, really confusing. And do you need a trademark? Do you need a copyright? Like, what do you need? What's the process? How cumbersome is the process? The forms are hella confusing. I think really this is one of those things where it is beneficial to consult with somebody who's an expert in the field. So that's why I'm going to bring my attorney on so he can speak to it directly. But if you already have an attorney, I think getting some counsel there would be very, very beneficial because this is something you just don't want to screw up, right? Because trademarking, it's your stuff. You want to make sure that you own it properly. So if it's overwhelming to you, there's some really good attorneys here in Houston. Hit me in the DM and I can probably point you in the direction here or there if you don't have somebody. And yeah, do that. But I think maybe consulting with an attorney if you're feeling super overwhelmed. All right. Young Billy D, how do you get to do a broadcast from our restaurant? Okay, well, I love restaurants. I would say it's easy. You got to call the radio station, which is 713-623-2108, 713-623-2108, or hit me in the DM and, I'll put the number there as well. And you buy a remote. We have packages for that. It's pretty easy. Cost depends on what all you want with it, who you want to come out, how long you want it, when you want it, et cetera, et cetera. So, we'll do remotes. Now, a remote is like a 2-hour appearance at your restaurant. We do call-ins, we bring games, we have the promotions team. We just create some excitement for a couple hours. But there's ways to customize that. So I would say call the radio station. We'd love to help you. As a songwriter, this is PA, as a songwriter and artist, how should I market songwriting? I'm going to have to assume what you mean by the question and feel free to clarify that. And scroll down, see if you do. Okay, so how do you market songwriting? Like, are you trying to do what with in terms of marketing your songwriting? I think that you got to own who you are. If you're a songwriter, are you a songwriter? You're an artist. You might be both, right? But if it's really your songwriting that you're trying to market, I think you got to record and demo your stuff and then put your stuff on your platforms. Just make sure you've done at least the minimum poor person's copyright, which is mailing it to yourself. Does everybody know that? If you write a song, you can mail it to yourself and the government, the post office stamp on it, like don't open it when you receive it. And then it's like a copy of when sort of that you created a thing. But I would say record it and say this is a demo, you write songs, and then just record it and perform it, or get somebody to demo it for you and put it on your social. I'm an advocate of using all of these social platforms because they're really free for the most part. So anytime you can use, I don't know, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, certainly, you've got SoundCloud, you've got all that stuff. I would say use it, and just be upfront about, hey, I'm a songwriter. Here's a new song that I wrote. Here's a snippet of it. If you're interested, you want to collab, hit me here, that kind of thing. So I would say you just got to put it out there. What other questions do we have? Okay, hey, so for anybody that just popped in, Free Game Live, I'm taking questions, branding, marketing, radio, small business, entertainment. Okay, another question from the doc. Are docs only asked on about Corona if from a hospital buying airtime? We already have a doc who's coming on, who's a client, who's going to be talking about Corona. So we happen to have one in the house who is a client. So, again, doc, if we needed someone and we didn't have someone that was a client, we would certainly look outside. But that's a good question. Oops. Here we go. Let's see. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to scroll and my fingers are in the way. Okay, here's a question from Ed. For radio, can you comment on marketing to an audience that traditionally had no urban radio? How to kick them into high gear with their engagement? Ed, I'm going to ask you a question here, if you wouldn't mind. So my assumption here is that you are a new urban radio station in a market that previously didn't have urban radio. I'm assuming that. And if that's the case, I'm a grassroots gal. So the question would be, do you have people that can hit the block? Do you have vehicles? Do you have t-shirts? Do you have the basic stuff, right? So, you got to hit the block and get out there and make friends. I always tell my team it's like running for office, right? Because when it comes to radio, you're asking basically for people's vote. You want them to vote for your radio station. Vote for your radio station with their time, their energy, their money, their whatever. So I like grassroots first. I think social matters too. And I think even though you're starting from zero, the Box, for example, and Magic, for Radio 1, Houston has the highest and the largest social media in the company of Radio 1. And we started from zero like everybody else. And it's about, posting. It's not just always about reposting other people's stuff. It is about creating a personality for your page. And I find that the personalities make up the personality of the page. So the more you can get your personalities to post and just demonstrate their personality, I think that social grows there. And I would say, again, assuming this is a new radio station in a market where the signal would be unfamiliar, I really want to lean on that, getting out there and pressing the flesh. Where is your audience in the market? And then getting out there and introducing yourself to them and asking for their vote. Say, please come listen to us, a t-shirt or whatever. It goes a long way. And then I like to do things in markets where a radio station is new in the market. I like to do preset campaigns. So if there's any sort of marketing or any sort of something where, hey, I'll give you a t-shirt if you put me on the preset. Because with radio, being on that preset in the car is everything. If your station is not on the preset, then you're not going to be one of the choices. You're not one of the first 6, you're not one of the first 12, and it's difficult. So anything you can do if you're a new station to get people on the preset would be beneficial. All right. That guy, number 1, when should a young artist begin a radio campaign for a single? Wait. Wait, 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 wait. All right, I'm going to give you the real. Radio used to be the first place to go, okay? When it was whenever, way back when all you had was radio. So go to radio, and radio was the only outlet for music. But the game is vastly different now. And there are a multitude of outlets for music. The internet, it's huge. I don't know if you live here in Houston, maybe. We had Master P popped up at the station like a couple years ago. You know, P, he just pops up, right? So he pops up, he gets on the morning show, and he's talking about if he had a chance to do it over, he would absolutely be pimping the internet. It is free. All that's required here is really time and intentionality, I think, with the internet. So I would say hold off on a radio campaign for a single. I think that when it comes to a single for a young artist, I think you have to make sure that that artist is in a part of all of the possible platforms where there's potential audience, right? So take the single and sit back and say, okay, what can we do with it? So do you have a video, right? And video, just get creative. You know, is it a lyric video? Is it something simple? I get that people don't have a lot of money, but I think the technology is really accessible. And if you've got some creativity or some people around you that can be creative, I think you can come together and create something cool and get that visual out there. So huge proponent of getting the visual out there. YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world. And if your artist is not there, you're already failing. All right. So in addition to YouTube, what else is there? Well, TikTok. I mean, come on. Lil Nas X comes from TikTok. There's so many artists that are breaking out of TikTok. A hot 15 seconds for a young artist who's got a catchy hook, a fun little dance, and then boom, right? So I think that you need to step back and look at where are all the places that I can get my artist and expose the single before I come to radio, because what it will do is it will help you build blocks for your artist. It helps you build the story to see if you can really catch momentum for the single. So I think just stepping back and taking a look at all of the possible platforms. So even for a young artist, I love to even use things like Spotify, anything that will allow the fan base to engage with the artist. So, you know, it could be a young artist and a new artist, right? So on Spotify, you know, if you created an artist playlist, you know, I would put the artist song on the playlist and then maybe also put other songs that the artist loves, right? You know, anything that's going to get people engaging with the artist on some level. You want them to engage with their music, sure, but also teaching or exposing who your artist is as a person to the audience allows fans to connect with that person on a personal level. There's something that Dustin, who's the format director for our top 40 stations, is a phrase that he used. It's PLU, people like us. And I think a lot of times with fans of an artist, we see ourselves in the artist in some way. And, you know, that might be a stretch sometimes, but that's what's happening in our own mind and in our own head. So exposing the artist's personality and letting people connect with that person as a person is really, really valuable and beneficial, because people tend to champion the artist if they feel like that person really represents who they are, or that they really know that person, even in just, you know, fan world, right? So I would really hold off on a radio campaign until you have some major momentum on a single. I hate for people to waste money. And I know, you know, we like money in radio. We surely do, but get the momentum going, right? Shoot, the name escapes me. Oh my God. Artist from Dallas. He had 4.5 million views on the video before anyone in radio started looking at it. So, you know, really work that internet hustle. All right, let's see. Oh, you're welcome. Pretty cleaning service for the free game. Hi. All right, here's Spec. How should a producer go about connecting with artists in the city besides the internet? I think you got to get out and about, Spec. And I'm calling you Spec. I'm for lack of knowing what your name is, but you'll be Spec today. So Spec, you got to get out. You got to get out. You got to get out. You got to get out, shake hands. You got to get out and meet people. Networking events. Now, producers, love producers because producers have beats. So beats are great. Nobody can be an artist without beats unless you happen to make beats too, right? So producers are valuable. But I think it is about getting out and about and meeting people. So look around the city and first of all, Are there any organizations or studios that you can connect with? Even if you go and introduce yourself around, you might get a whole lot of no's, but you could get some yeses. Because there's a big difference between somebody who's an audio engineer and somebody who's a producer that can make beats, right? So a lot of studios just have, they might just have audio engineers, but they don't have anybody who really makes beats or enough people that make fresh beats. And if you can develop some relationships with people at the studios, then when the artist comes in, that's an opportunity for them to introduce you to people or bring you up in a conversation and expose your beats. I also think as a producer, provided you have your stuff protected, right? So like copywritten or whatever, I think that producers should work themselves like you were an artist. So putting your music up, provided it's protected. I am not an advocate of putting your music, your beats, or your whatever out there in the universe until you've taken the proper protective measures for it so people can't rip it off. So your copyrights or whatever. Even again, if it's what we call the poor person's copyright, which is very simple, mailing a copy of it to yourself and not opening it. I'm just really, really adamant about that. But as a producer, you've got beats. So, you should be putting your beats out there and making them available. You could do that on any of the platforms. So, networking in the city, find out where there are events or networking opportunities for you to meet people. Could be DJ events, DJ coalitions. Open mic nights is a great place, where they've got, some sort of vibe happening and you can go and be present. So I would certainly do that. And then making friends at all of the recording studios in town, for sure. And then just putting your music somewhere, SoundCloud, whatever, wherever you want to put it, so that people can easily have a link and listen to some of your work. All right. And J Mac, hey, thanks for coming. Chinadu, hey, so proud of Chinadu. If y'all don't follow Chinadu, you are missing out. We are so proud of this guy. Just started making dope videos, funny videos on Instagram. Now he's on TV, so he's awesome. What's up, J-Tech? Y'all say what's up to J-Tech. J-Tech is operations manager in Raleigh from Atlanta. So thank you for stopping in. Let's see. Hi, everybody. Wow. Y'all are making me feel so great. Ooh, Sir Chalks. Song placement. I'm so glad you brought that up. Song placement. Okay, so what's song placement, or what does placement mean? A placement is when your song or music gets put into a television commercial, a movie, a TV show, something like that. There's a song from 1975 that is in an Amazon Prime commercial that is now Shazamming in markets. Because people are hearing it in the commercial and younger people don't know what it is. It's a classic record, and so they're Shazamming the record. So I think song placement is an awesome way to get your music exposed. So how do you get song placement? I like to, like I say, shop local first, especially if you're up and coming. What I mean by shopping local is this: networking with brands that you consume. In every market, like I'm blessed, I'm in Houston, right? So there's a lot happening in Houston, Texas. So there's clothing brands, sneaker brands, there's, all kind of stuff that people are creating, all kinds of dope local businesses. And a lot of people consume those businesses. So I would say market to the brands that you consume first, because a lot of times those brands advertise. And if they'll use your song or your track or your hook or your something as part of their commercial, hey man, that's song placement out the gate. And that could really make a difference for you. To get song placement on a larger scale requires a little more finesse, but I will say this: it can be done if you're an independent artist. You just have to build up momentum for that song. And it all goes back to making sure that your song is wherever people consume music. Advocate of all platforms. It's YouTube, it's Spotify, it's Apple Music, it's TikTok, it's all of that. Because what will happen is if your song is catchy enough, somebody gravitates to it, and then all of a sudden it becomes the new song for the NBA, right? That happened locally here in Houston, where artists have done records, and one of the players really loved the record, and then all of a sudden it becomes the theme song for the team, and it's like a super big deal. So song placement is an awesome way to get your music out there. songs have been added to radio, like new songs, because a song got placed in a commercial, and programmers, we look at something called Shazam. So let me explain Shazam a little bit. If you're an artist, a producer, or whatever, and you have not downloaded the Shazam app, I'm telling you, when you get done here, when you click off, please download it, because there's a chart on there. Okay. When you go into Discover, so when you download it and you open up the app, you'll see something that says Discover. Click that. And when you click Discover, it's going to take you to the chart. Now you can see the worldwide chart, you can see the chart for the United States, and you can see the chart for a particular city. And so, like, you could go to United States and then pull up the chart for Houston. And I look at that. And so I've seen songs that have populated there that weren't getting any radio airplay, and I've backtracked it to find out where it was getting exposed. And there have been a couple of songs that I've actually put into rotation because of Shazam. All right, so let's understand what Shazam is. What Shazam says to a radio program director, if you're an artist, it says that the community, the people out here that love music, they're curious about what that is. Now, it's either one or two things. Either, what is that? I don't like it. Or what is it? Oh my God, I love it, right? So it's a curiosity thing. I don't know whether they like it or they don't like it, but those are the only two options. So they Shazam it, and the app collects that data, and there's a chart that happens from that, okay? And so there have been instances, I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it totally could happen, where a song is Shazamming consistently in a market and it gets added to the radio. So if you don't have that app, it is free. Please download it. There's a couple of local artists here that are getting airplay right now just because their songs are really freaking dope and they deserve it, like Anaya, for example, and her song is Shazamming. I love to see that. A lot of you may know Trap Boy Freddy from Dallas. He's getting Shazammed here, which is awesome. So, you could really see some of that. So, how can you sign with a label when in paperwork with another like Megan? Okay, I don't know all the ins and outs of Megan's deal, but I will speak to you in broad strokes, okay? Because this happens all of the time. So, as an artist, you may sign to an independent label. So you're signed to that label, and they're doing whatever they're doing, right? So they're promoting you, they're marketing you, they're helping you get out there, et cetera, et cetera. And then there have been instances where that sort of local or regional independent label then signs to a label that's a little bit larger. Okay, so in this case, I don't even want to use the Megan example. I'd like to stay away from it. So let's say you signed to Terry Thomas Records, and then Terry Thomas Records goes and signs a deal with Empire Records, right? And so now you've signed to a label who's also signed to another label. Be careful what you sign, first and foremost, always. Because a lot of times that happens, right? You're signed and then the label signs. And so everybody's in your pocket before you are. And that's sort of a real thing. So if you're signed to an independent label, that first level, and you want to get out of it, and you've signed a contract, lawyers are going to need to get involved because you signed a contract. So it's difficult to get out of that. And I'm sure Kiati won't mind me sharing this story, actually. So a lot of y'all know Kiati. He is our morning guy on the box. Good morning, H-Town. And he's also a rapper, one of my favorite freestyle rappers ever in life. So when I first met Kiati, he was really on his rap game. And I remember this was when I first got to Houston, I don't know, like 14 years ago or so. And we had an all-star weekend, and it was the best all-star weekend ever in the city. And everybody was coming through the radio station. Every time I looked up, there was some celebrity, actor, actress, rapper, singer, whoever. It was crazy. And so it was the spot. So Kiati, again, he was a rapper. That's what I knew him for. Just local rapper trying to make it. He was at the station. It was in the 5 o'clock hour, and we were doing a cypher on the air, and he was freestyling. And I was there with Azim Rashid, who is with Columbia Records now. Azim was there, but at the time he worked with Diddy. And so Azim was there. We were out in the hallway in front of the box, and all of a sudden Diddy rings Azim's phone and says, "Who the hell is that guy rapping on the radio? I want to sign him." Well, Kiati had been signed to somebody who was signed to somebody who was signed to somebody, and he was so deep in entangled deals, he wasn't able to get out of it to take advantage of the opportunity to go work with Diddy. So I would just say, please, I know we all want to be signed, or some of us do. We want to be signed, or we want management, or we want whatever. But don't allow your desire for what you want allow you to get stuck on stupid and not really follow and really understand legally what you're signing and what the ramifications are. I think most people have best of intentions, but when people start making money, that's when things can get funny. So it's very difficult to get untangled from things. And sometimes it causes you to miss an opportunity. Okay. Do you feel Southern Soul will ever be respected in mainstream music, such as P1 stations and as a category for big award shows of the Grammys? Well, look, Mr. More Music, we've already discovered, I'm going to say it. Hey, man, the Grammys was looking a little bit shady. Like all that stuff that just came out about people buying Grammys and all that. Boo-hoo on that. But I understand the prestige of a Grammy. All right? I think Southern Soul can be respected in mainstream music. I think it's about hits. Okay, we have already seen that everything doesn't always have to sound like everything else. There are songs that cut through that sound different than everything else. I'll give you an example. Magic 102, we played Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton, who I love. And I have to give Walter D really a lot of credit here because now I always knew the song and loved the song because I'm a music person. So I love all music. So I love Tennessee Whiskey and I love Chris Stapleton. But, so I'm sitting in the station and Walter D is there and he's like, hey T, he said, if you play this song on Magic, I guarantee it's a hit. And so he presses play and it's Tennessee Whiskey by Chris Stapleton. And I was like, for real? Because I loved it already. But I hadn't necessarily thought about it in terms of Magic 102. And he said, yes. He said, I'm out at the clubs and people are dancing to it and asking for it. And I see it's starting to be hot in the club. So I put it in Magic and it could still be in heavy rotation, honestly. So I think it's about hit records that move the crowd. And so if you're an artist, I don't want you to go to the studio and saying, I'm going in to make a hit record. I want you to make music that emotionally connects with you. Because I think it's that emotional connection that creates a hit record. So I think Southern Soul can be respected in mainstream music. I think music is cyclical. I think that there's trends in music and then there's another trend in music and another trend in music and another trend in music. So I think if it's a hot ass record, absolutely. And in terms of Grammys, absolutely. I mean, the Grammys is a bit of a hustle. Remember, all these award shows are a bit of a racket, okay? Anything award-based is always going to be a bit of a racket. I hate to blow your high on it, but it just really is. So, but yeah, Southern Soul, I think it's a beautiful art form. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, Kiati. All right. Let's see. Success for Kiati. All right, Pretty Cleaning Service. Can you give any tips on how I could seek for A&Rs for an artist that I personally know? I'm trying to get his music out, submit him in contests, and share his music to people. Okay. The A&R game. So A&R stands for artist and repertoire. So traditionally in the past, those are the people that work for the record label, and they go out and find artists and cultivate artists and oversee projects for record labels. But the A&R game is super different. It's just really different now. The A&Rs now are literally the people combing the internet, finding the next big hit, bringing it into the record label and saying, I think this is it. Sure, there's a few of the traditional A&Rs still out there, but they're few and far between. A lot of it is just really people combing the internet to see where the next buzz is. Or, we have record reps that live in different cities. If there's a record that's like hot in the city that has a sound that they think could go national, then that person could bring it to the record label. So with regard for helping your friends, stop seeking an A&R. Stop. What you can do, though, is help increase the fan base for your artist, okay? If this artist is a friend and you rock with the music, it's a much better conversation to help that artist grow their fan base, because if they do, they can get on the radar of the label if that's what you're ultimately seeking, and an A&R will come to you. A lot of people want to go and find an A&R before they really have a story for the A&R. It's about having a successful single, and then if they see that there's a single that's buzzing, it's catching, and then there's a body of work that comes with it, that's when the conversation happens. Okay, so I would say Pretty Cleaning Service Texas, don't look for an A&R. See how you can help your artist increase their fan engagement and get more authentic fans. That's the way to go. Oh, Mr. More Music. I did answer your question. I'm sorry. Hit me in the DM. I'll answer it again. Hey, Ave. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Thanks again for everybody. Hey, Katie Staffing. Hi. All right, Mr. More Music. I still hate we weren't able to lock down that McDonald's jingles years ago. Oh, it's all good. Can you speak with me? Can you speak on licensing opportunities? I mean, I love all of that, licensing opportunities. They're just a little more nuanced. Um, Licensing opportunities. A little more nuanced. I think, again, like placements, I think licensing is a little bit similar, is that worry about promoting your music and be open to somebody wanting to do that. So it all comes back to putting your music where there's audience. YouTube, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, your own internet platforms, your Instagram, TikTok. Please don't ignore TikTok. I know people think it's a kiddie thing. It's not. I know people think it's just for dances. It's not. Get creative with how you can put yourself on TikTok. It's way too many people there, and there's way too much attention on TikTok right now with people looking for like that next thing. And so please make sure you don't ignore TikTok. I know a lot of us are like, oh, another platform, but it's real. Okay, and it's not really going away. So putting your music on TikTok, putting yourself on TikTok, do that. For indie artists, you have to put your music where there's audience. Find your fans. That's really it, because licensing is going to come when people come to you. But it's a dope opportunity if you can get it. Can you give me any tips about being a public PR for an artist you personally know? Okay. All right. Good question here. And I'm going to broaden this a little bit. Pretty Cleaning Service, Texas. For artists or people that are wanting to be in the business, we don't often have a lot of money, right? So we have to rely on what we have around us. So we can fall into things like our friends trying to help us out. And if you're a friend who's trying to help somebody out because you really dig the artist, I think that's admirable. But first things first, ask yourself, do you want to be the PR person? Is that something that you really want to do in your life? Because if you don't, you're not the best person to do it. You're somebody who can be a champion and be a super fan and tell all your friends and family about how amazing you think the artist is. But if you're not dying to be the PR person for this artist and that artist, and that's not the future that you want for yourself, I don't know. Because I find a lot of artists get in trouble because they don't have qualified people around them. And people that really have a passion to be an expert at a thing will do what's required to study up and be an expert on that thing. So you can be somebody who maybe starts off a little less experienced, but you really have to study. You really have to learn the business. You have to be voracious about consuming the information and giving yourself the expertise and understanding of what it is that you're really doing. A lot of artists get in trouble because they have unqualified people around them. And we all want to take care of our friends and family and our loved ones. I get it. But if that person doesn't know what the hell they're doing, they could end up really biting you in the ass. And if you, as that person who wants to help, really don't have a passion for the role that you're trying to play, you really could be doing your friend a disservice. So I would say be sure that that's what you want to do. And then you got to put yourself in school, whether it's traditional or whether it's gutting it out and reading and learning everything you can about PR, because you're consuming a bunch of YouTube videos, you're taking master classes online, you're reading books, you're doing that. And then you got to put some of that stuff into play. So, there's a difference between being a friend who's really trying to help and then trying to take the role formally. So just really ask yourself which side you want to play. Hey, Con. Super fan of the box and magic. I love Con and radio now too. Just the best. Let's see. Oops, sorry guys. Trying to click more. I'm hoping I'm trying to catch everybody's questions here. So taking questions: branding, music business, small business. Building your brand as a influencer, I can answer those too. Radio questions, if you got them, that's fine. All right, here we are. Yep, KD, you're right. Always do the work after you make the song. What's up, Bobby Holiday? How can I find a good distribution company for my artist? You got free distribution already. So I would say, like, I would want to know more about the artist, right? Because if you're seeking distribution and distribution opportunities aren't coming to you first, then my gut is telling me you're not maximizing your free distribution. Free distribution is all the internet stuff. It just is. And I know I keep coming back to that, but it's the truth, right? It's the truth. And because the internet is so accessible, it's a lot easier to get your stuff up and out. So as an artist, you don't need a record label to get your stuff on iTunes. You don't need a record label to get your stuff on CD Baby. You don't need a record label to be an artist on Spotify. You don't need a record label to create a YouTube channel. You don't need a record label to create an Instagram. You don't need a record label to create a TikTok. You don't need a record label to create a Facebook. You don't need it, right? And all of these platforms, they're distribution platforms. And I'm even going to say something that's hella controversial, but I'm going to say it. Radio is a distribution platform. It's a distribution platform. Now, there's another purpose to radio, which is to get ratings for the purpose of generating revenue. And that's a subject for another day, not today. But distribution platforms are already out here. So if you're needing or seeking something larger than what you have already, and those opportunities aren't coming to you, then I'm going to tell you haven't yet maximized the free platforms. And there's not enough momentum there. Because distribution at this level could be problematic, meaning you're going to get a shitty deal. And nobody wants a shitty deal. So I would wait and maximize the other platforms that are immediately accessible. All right, let's see. Distribution. Oh, TuneCore, DistroKid. Good PA. Good suggestions. Again, these are all things that the artist can do. All of them. TuneCore, DistroKid, CD Baby. All things the artist can do. Don't need a record company to do it. Thank you, PA. Appreciate that. Hey, Big D. Hope you're feeling better. Hey, y'all. Say what's up to Big D. He just had foot surgery. So checking in. Hopefully you're resting. What is the holy secret of radio airplay? That's a great question. All right. It's a complicated question, but I'll do my very best to answer it. Radio playlists are a mathematical equation. Radio is about frequency. Okay, it's a frequency medium. So what's the best way for me to explain it? When you're listening to the radio, you're always doing something else. Most people, where do you listen to the radio? You're in the car, right? So what are you doing? You're driving, and hopefully you're driving first and not listening to the radio first, okay? You're driving first. So most people as radio consumers, radio is there. It's the passenger. It's not the driver. So you're always doing something else. So because people are always continually distracted when they're listening to radio, radio is what we call a frequency medium. For something to cut through, it needs to play a certain number of times. That goes for the advertising and that goes for the music. So there's a finite number of spots on a radio playlist. And for an artist to secure one of those spots, your record has to be, I'm going to say better than, it's not the best word. Your record has to fit the strategy of the station and the programming initiative better than somebody else's record. Because remember, the job of radio is to get ratings for the purpose of revenue. It's a business, for-profit business, okay? And it's about getting ratings for the purpose of generating revenue. So there are stations. I've been really proud about the stations in Houston, and I know somebody's always disgruntled, but I play local artists. There are opportunities to gain airplay if your record is better than somebody else's. Better meaning it will have a greater impact on my ratings for the purpose of generating revenue than someone else's record. And I know we think that our records are always the hot records, but there's a lot of things that go into that. Moving the crowd in a meaningful way. So it can happen, right? Um, oh shoot, so many records. I mean, the station in the radio world, we broke Megan Thee Stallion. In the radio world, Breland, my truck that is being broke out of 97.9 The Box, my marketing director actually found it on a Spotify playlist, sent it to me, sent it to Kiati. We connected with the guy in the DM. He sent us the record. Didn't really understand at first. He was signed to Atlantic Records. He was low on the totem pole. And because we talked to him, we wanted to put in his record immediately. He was sending it to us, and all of a sudden it became a priority. So your record just has to fit the strategy of the station. So I would say the bigger you can create a buzz for your record on your own, the better opportunity you have to secure radio airplay in a specific market. So sometimes people will call me and they may be in, I don't know, Tupelo, Mississippi. My record is the hottest thing ever in Tupelo, Mississippi, but it doesn't resonate in my marketplace. There's no footprint here in Houston for it. So I'm honest with people. Like, look, I've got a plethora of artists here in Houston that are busting their ass to get on this radio station. I'm not going to put you on when I've got records here that are already buzzing in my marketplace. So those conversations do happen. You got to make your record hot in the marketplace, and it has to be authentically hot. Please don't do some dumb stuff like pay the DJ at the club $50 to play your song. I mean, I guess you can if you want to, but ultimately you want people to play your record because organically it's a really freaking good record and it's going to move the crowd. So if you can get your record exposed and a buzz going in the marketplace, that's number one. Number two is, again, making sure your record is in everywhere. I don't like when people put out songs and they don't have their shit together. Meaning you have a song, but you don't have something on YouTube. You have a song, but you haven't put it on iTunes. You have a song, but you haven't registered it with ASCAP and BMI. You have a song, but you haven't got it coded for MediaBase and BDS. You're not ready for radio airplay. So make sure you handle your business before you even seek that, and do everything within your power to create a fan base for that particular record right there in your own market. That's the best way to get on the radio. Can you speak to rejection? Yeah. Someone doesn't like your song. Hey man, I'm going to tell you the God's honest truth. There's a lot of songs I don't like. But that doesn't mean I won't play them. It doesn't. The biggest joy I have in life is when I find that record that gets me so excited, I run down and put it on the air. And I'll say the most recent example of that was Breland's My Truck. I heard it. I knew it was going to work for the radio station. I knew it was going to be a smash. I knew it would be a power record. I knew it in my heart and soul, in my gut. And that's because I've been doing this for a gazillion years, okay? And I knew it. And everything that I thought was going to happen is actually happening for the record. That brings me a lot of joy. But there's a lot of records that, people don't necessarily like. But smart program directors are going to recognize if the record has a real story happening in the marketplace, in which case the record becomes undeniable. If you're trying to connect with people that will consume your radio station, then if it's the hottest record out there, and we have ways to measure that, it's not just personal opinion, we have concrete measurement tools to measure how hot a record is in the marketplace. If it's really the hottest thing in the marketplace, then you can turn that around. I don't have to like your record for it to get added to the playlist. I add stuff I don't like all the time. It just has to be the right record to fit the strategy of the station. So I would say, Big D, grassroots that thing and internet that thing. There's the marketplace and then there's the internet. I mean, some records are undeniable. And then remember too, this is another thing that I would share to you. I can't play everything. It's not physically possible. There are records that have been highly charted that have not made it on the radio station because, again, it's a mathematical formula. And in a market like Houston, I do pay attention to what's happening on the local scene. So I am going to play records from the marketplace. And so those take up spots. And if I've committed myself to a record from Anaya, for example, right, who is from Houston, I've committed to the record is working for me. There may be another record by somebody else and it just doesn't make it because Anaya has the spot, but she has it because she deserves to have it because the record is working. So there you go. So, it's not just local guys and gals that don't get play. Trust me, some of those national records don't get play. get played as well. I remember everyone rejected Mystical when I first heard the music. Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Oh, what is this crap? And then it's the hottest thing ever. So you just got to be patient. I'm So Houston production. Okay, let's see. Mr. Moore, TikTok actually sent me an email about putting my music on there. Do you feel that indie artists on there, indie should handle a direct opportunity as such? I think Mr. Moore Music, I think putting your stuff on TikTok, hell yeah. But yeah, get some legal counsel before you sign anything. There's a few people that you just need to have in your camp. Leslie Cross is my attorney. I was going to suggest Leslie Cross. There's a few others as well. Good entertainment attorneys in the market, but I love Mr. Cross. He is my attorney, so he's wonderful. And in fact, I'm going to ask him to join us on a free game coming up to talk about some of these issues. But if somebody is giving you a piece of paper to sign, have a lawyer look at it. The two most important people you can have is your lawyer and your accountant. Most people screw themselves up because they sign bad deals or bad contracts, or they screw up with their money and their accounting is way out of line. So those are two people that you need to have in pocket. Remember, it's the music business. If you're not handling the business of making music, don't matter how great your music is, you're going to end up broke and screwed over. So lawyer, accountant, two most important people. Hey, JD. Hey, y'all, this is JD. I'm going to front him out right now. JD is in the chat. He is with Empire Records, lives here in Houston, and he has a passion for this business, and I love that about him. So let's see. How effective are artists doing customs, dub plates, and drops for DJs to you? Love, 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 love. So JD is asking a phenomenal question. If you are an artist and you make music that's for the club, and this is for my Southern Soul folks, this applies to you too, because a lot of your music's getting played, in the Red Roosters of the world, okay? If you're an artist and you can get played at a club, your music fits that scene, doing custom versions of the song for the DJ, where you name the DJ's name, awesome idea. Drops for the DJ, awesome idea. That helps you with your grassroots movement, creating custom versions for people. And because you don't actually, DJing is all like Serato now, you don't actually have to go out and press vinyl. It's a lot cheaper to do that because you can just, send somebody a link and they download it and they already have it. That is really great idea because DJs, I love DJs. I have a huge passion for DJs. DJs help create the story. This is a true story. I will tell you a Megan Thee Stallion story. True story here in Houston. Megan's got beastie work ethic. Her and her mom were the dynamic duo. Period. The grind, the hustle, the reputation of Megan's work ethic preceded her success. Preceded it. She had, God rest her soul, an incredible mother, and they were a tag team and they busted their ass. And so they were out in the clubs, they were grinding it out, they were doing all the things necessary to show people they were serious about trying to be successful in the business, and the music was good. Her talent is legit, right? So the DJs in the marketplace actually got together, and this is a beautiful story. They got together and said, we believe in this person, so we are collectively going to work together as a unit to help expose her music because we believe in her as an artist. And they did, and look at her now. Successful artist. Okay, so yeah, anything you can do with custom versions for DJs and drops, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Okay, how does an artist build a team? That's a good question. You have to decide what you need on your team. So this is something that's going to apply not just to artists, but just to people in general, okay? You got to know yourself. You got to know what you're good at, and you got to know what you're lacking. So for me, I'm in management, for example. The most important journey that you can be on in your life is the journey of self-discovery. You have got to figure out what makes you tick. What are you great at? What do you suck at? What could you do, but you really don't want to? The better you know yourself, you got to start there. You got to do the work and figure out what makes you tick. Because then from there, you'll start to figure out what you need in your team. Because if I'm strong in something, it's nice to have somebody else who's strong in it, but if we're all strong in the same thing and not covering the weak points, I'm screwing myself. Remember, it's the music business and you're the CEO. You are you.inc. You Inc. You're the brand. You're the business. And so as the CEO of that business, you have to know you and then your personality and how to fill in the blanks of the things that you're not good at. So if you need somebody who's very, very organized, like you're super creative, so you're always in your own head, you may need somebody who's really buttoned up. And oh shoot, we are almost at an hour. Ha! All right, quick answer. Know yourself, figure out what you're lacking, and interview people. It's a freaking job. You got to take that seriously. We've got 17 seconds left. This is what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to save it to my story. I'm going to download this, and I'm going to post it to my YouTube page. I want to thank everybody for popping in. They only give us an hour here. So I'm going to do this again. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave me a comment in the DM. Y'all have a great night. And thanks for stopping by.